Let's now look at what is ERP, that is Enterprise Resource Planning, and its evolution. So it all started off with more than 3 decades back, 3 or 4 decades back, I would say, sometime in 70s or 80s, starting from the mainframe system, and then it has got evolved into the web application, and now we are in Web 3.0. So lot of things has happened in the last 40 years. So in the, I mean, particularly in the ERP field. So that is what we are going to look at in this presentation. So what is enterprise resource planning and its evolution? So any organization, be it small, that is a small scale, or a medium-sized segment, or a large-sized company. So we'll not get into the revenue part. It could be in millions or billions, or it could be in maybe a few thousands. So even a small company, maybe from a manpower perspective, even a small company employing about 10 to 15 people are now using ERP. The primary reason is now with cloud, it's always feasible. You can just plug and play and start is using the ERP system in no time. So thanks to cloud, and that's where it becomes quite handy. So small segment players use the cloud based, and most of the large segment players, which is having thousands of employees, 10,000s of employees, use or 100,000 of employees use mostly on premises. Again, on premises, about a decade back, it was all on premises, but even the adaptability among them, the big companies, are towards cloud these days, cloud application. So before getting into all the details, so what is an ERP? So it refers to system software used by organization to manage day-to-day business activities such as the human capital management. This is related to your employees, their salaries, how they are managed, and then their performance, their leave management, and when there is hiring goes, or when there is when they move out of the organization. So all these needs to be tracked. So that is where the first one is human capital management. Generally, earlier days it was called as HR, but these days it is more said that it is called the human capital management. Generally, again, the HR is one thing which gets implemented the first, because the employees can be used anywhere. He can the employees on the role. He could be a sales manager, then he will be using a sales application. Whereas if he's going to make payments, then he's a accounts payables or a financial guy. Similarly, a receivables clerk could be on the receivable side. Then it comes to finance, and then there is also something for manufacturing. If the organization is into the manufacturing field, they have to procure goods, they have to store the goods, and then use it in the manufacturing process. So there is a manufacturing activity as well. And then there is a supply chain, how, where to procure, how much to procure. So all that comes in the supply chain management. And finally, all this gets into the accounting side, where it needs to be accounted. When you procure it, it goes to the accounting, and then you make a payment. And similarly, the customer order gets processed, that is invoiced, and once it is invoiced, then you need to receive the payment, and post receiving the payment, it needs to be accounted, which is called the general ledger. All this are recorded, and towards recording you use the database, the relational database, RDBMS. And Oracle is one of the pioneer in them. Most of the, even now, you'd say about 80 to 90% of these database are on the Oracle. Even though the ERP application could be anything, it could be SAP, or it could be NetSuite or PeopleSoft, but still generally the database, mostly it is going to be the Oracle database on which the application is going to run. So the center one is the database, the ERP, the database on which the applications are run, and on top of it, the user is going to interact with the application. All this application, you could have the finance, manufacturing, distributions. So all these are application, and all this will interact with the database. On database, you have the tables on which the data is going to get stored. And for the technical consultant, you might need to be good in SQL or PL SQL. So there are these were initial days. It all started with the manufacturing side, which is generally called as the MRP, the manufacturing, the MRPs, and then particularly when it was on the mainframe, and then after manufacturing, they started having the finance side, and that is when, due to evolution, this all happened in 80s, when they started building accounting application. You had the I mean, the client server technology. You have a client machine, and then the server is where your relational database is going to be there, and then from the client you interact. So initially it was based on networks, and that was in 80s and 90s, and then came the web, that is internet came in late 90s worldwide, and that's where you had the other applications also being built, that is the customer relationship management, the sales, marketing, business. These are all late entrants in the ERP side. That is around late 90s, or I would say in early 2000 is what the CRM was being introduced. Otherwise, it was initially the manufacturing part. Started with manufacturing, then HR, then it is supply chain, then finance. All this came, and followed by the customer relationship management. So the top ERP creators, that is much more interesting. So we have as of now SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft. Initially, in 80s and 90s, there are it was between SAP, and then you had Oracle ERP. There was something called PeopleSoft and Born as well. Then there was JD Edwards. The JD Edwards was the first entrant when it was even mainframe, JD Edwards. But in late 90, or I would say early 2000, Oracle acquired many of the ERP creators like PeopleSoft, JD Edwards. They were all acquired by Oracle. So they branded, I mean, they were all became a part of the Oracle family, and we have SAP. It is already there. SAP is good in, they say SAP is good in manufacturing, and we have the Oracle, which all comes under. I mean, all now we have PeopleSoft, the or the JD Edwards all acquired. But now these days, it's all as far as except a few of them, or I would say in thousands, which is using still on-premises application. Most of them are moved to cloud. So when you go to cloud, the SaaS application, that is software as a service, there is no branding. Generally, you don't find a branding as PeopleSoft or JD Edwards. It is a rarity. It is only Oracle. It's branded as Oracle, and there is also called Microsoft Dynamics. So these are the three major players. If you look at it, it is SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, and then other clouds like Salesforce. They have a huge implementation, particularly on the CRM side. And then NetSuite. NetSuite as is part, though it is part of the Oracle family as such, but NetSuite has grown independently of Oracle. It belongs to the Oracle family because the promoter of NetSuite was from Oracle. So I mean, the key player of Oracle, who is Larry Ellison, has invested extensively on NetSuite. So it's kind of an acquired, though it is kind of an acquired, it is still being sold in the market as a separate product. And interestingly, in the Oracle family, even those days when Oracle was focusing on the on-premises application, on the on-premises application, NetSuite was on the cloud platform. It has almost all the modules which is similar to what is there in the Oracle ERP. So that gives a high-level overview as who are the creators of the ERP, the major creators, and apart from that, there are many more as well. I mean, the entrants like Zoho is giving a tough fight for the leaders like SAP, Oracle, and all these days. And if you look at this is more interesting. If you look at the evolution as such, the destructive changes occurs every 10 to 15 years. There is destruction in the technology, and this gap of 10 to 15 days is narrowing down every 5 years, 7 years. There is going to be destruction in IT field. So it all started in 70s and 80s in the mainframe segment, and particularly it was MRP, that is on the material resource planning or the manufacturing side. The MRPs was there because you procure the good, process it. So towards the material resource planning, was used in mainframe, and bit of an accounting was used, and then it was started getting integrated into a package. That's where it started with the ERP application from 1990s with the evolution of client server. And with Oracle, they call it the 10 version, release 10, 10.7 was the GUI version. When Windows came out in 97, the Windows was introduced. Clients when it got introduced, simultaneously with the client server, you had the GUI version of the ERP applications. So these were all on the on-premises side. And then came the web application. Still, if you look at it, it was on the on-premises side. No changes. It was still on the on-premises side. This was in 2000 till up to 2005 to 10 is what was on the on-premises. And then you had the cloud, the R12, the R12s, which was on the cloud, Web 2.0. This was from around 2010. It was all on the cloud, but still cloud meaning yes, it was on premises, but still you can access them with the browser. So that's where like it was on the internet, but still it could be on the on premises. You could use the VPN to connect them. But then cloud around last one decade, that is from 2013 onwards, the cloud where you don't own the application per se, but with on premises you own the application. You need to install the application and configure it. Whereas with the cloud SaaS application, installation is not done by you, it is done by the vendor themselves, whoever is the provider. They provide the installation, you need to configure it. That is where we are in. The last 10 years, we are seeing Web 2.0 with the cloud, the software as a service, and the growth in software as a service is a phenomenal growth. And on premises, which is based on the license model, it is slowly dipping down when you compare with the consumption of cloud based ERP solution. And the next, we are slowly moving to the next phase, which is Web 3.0, which is more of an integrated with multiple computers hosting the application, the blockchains. So even the financial application for the future, it could be based on blockchain. So when a transaction happens, it reflects across the system. When a payment is made, it reflects across the system, whether it is vendor or whether it is a vendor or the order who has created the order. It reflects across the system. One transaction gets across. It's a kind of a decentralized process. So that is Web 3.0. That is where we are progressing from 2010, 2020 onwards. So this gives you a high level overview about the evolution of ERP application. We are right now over here on the cloud. There is a growth, significant growth on premises. We are the sales is dropping, and the Web uh, 3.0, which is related to the blockchain, it is at the very nascent stage. It is catching up quite fast. So this gives you an overview about the ERP and its evolution. Thank you.